Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another Irish folklore day. We've looked at many creatures, well, a few, and a few places that are important to Irish culture and Irish history. But this one today is, I'd have to say, it's Ireland's most significant spirit, and that is of the Irish Banshee. So, pull up a horn of mead, have a seat by the fire, smash that subscribe button, and join me, won't you, as we learn a lot of the history on the Irish Banshee. Now, the Irish Banshee was indeed a fairy woman, a spirit connected to the world of the dead. It is said that if you saw her, you'd be going to pray for the safety of your family because one of them would most likely be joining there soon. The term banshee comes from, Old Irish for woman of the fairy mound, also known as the banshee. Her name is related to the termly earthen mounds found throughout the Irish countryside. These termel were traditionally built to cover a grave or group of graves, and were said to house the souls of the dead. The named Little Washerwoman emerges from stories about her being seen washing the same bloodstain from the clothes of people who were about to die. Even if you didn't see her, the same banshee could warn you by shrieking and wailing or keening. Her shrieking was thought to be powerful enough to shatter glass. The first accounting entries of a creature date back to 1380, and those are the written, but the oral goes back long before that. This was referenced and found in Norman writings, and the similar tales of witch-like life forms signaling impending doom can also be found in Scottish Celtic and Welsh Celtic mythology. I'm specifically going to talk about the Irish. The banshee would usually take 3 forms. As a sweet, youthful maiden, often luring people with the sweet singing akin to the mermaids or sirens. A comprehensive matron, or a pitiful old crone. She was always dressed in a grey cloak, and her eyes were completely red from constant weeping. She was a death predictor and would frequently appear before anyone entered a situation in which they were unlikely to survive. There are old stories about soldiers abandoning battles after hearing beating in the woods before clashing with their enemies. They would flee, terrified at the thought of a banshee signaling their impending death. One's enemies usually killed fleeing soldiers, their poas armies for desertion, or the elements if they remained hidden. And with each end, the legend of the banshee grew and grew. Even in today's century, with rational minds, shrieks from the forest aren't ever pleasant. Still, when a blood-curdling howl greets you, or your family, members in the same arms of death, you can imagine how the Banshee fast became one of the most feared and featured creatures in Irish folk tales. According to legend, there are evil banshees who enjoy taking people's lives and start seeking out their victims, wailing at them until they commit suicide or go insane. Even banshees can tear people apart. With these terrifying apparitions appear in modern horror films. It is worth noting that banshees need not bring death. Instead, they warn of and give the people time to prepare. Nobody knows where the Banshee obtained their understanding of a person's death. According to one theory, each family member has an observer who follows him around and provides feedback to the Banshee. Even so, this is a dying belief that is legend of the Banshee, which is now viewed as nothing but a freaky bedtime story to some, but some still believe. Many centuries ago, the assumption of banshees was more common in Ireland. Being a disbeliever was also considered sinful. It seems you have a relative or friend who believes this. For the rest of us, the legend of the Banshee, well, not even me. For a lot, it falls under the category of myth and superstition. Let's look more at the appearance of the Irish Banshee. Usually they are, of course they're always women, and with red hair, whether they're a maiden, mother, or crone varies. They always have long hair and blood red eyes, and always wearing grey. Lady Wide, writing in 19th century in Ancient Legends of Ireland, states the size of the Banshee differs from region to region. Though some accounts of her standing unnaturally tall are recorded, the majority tales describe her height as stated the Banshee's stature as short, anywhere between 1 foot and 4 feet. Her exceptional shortness often goes alongside with the description of her as an old woman, although it may also intended to emphasize her state as a fairy creature. In Irish folklore, the appearance of the Banshee has been widely speculated across the years. Some reports have seen a woman with grey hair, white hair, black hair, or even red. She was reported being old, ugly, as well as young and beautiful. One thing, it's always a woman. Originally, many believed that the Irish Banshee only visited those coming from a noble or powerful or pure, if you will, Irish families, which is bullshit. Traditionally, there were only 5 major Irish families: O'Neills, O'Briens, O'Connors, O'Grady's, 6, McCarthy's, and the Cavachs. However, it is believed intermarriage has long since extended the selective list. According to folklore, a banshee arrives at night in your house with an anguished scream, and that will let you know that a relative will soon die. Now, let's look at keening, because it is said that in some stories banshees keen. And what keening is. It pretty much will sum it up fast, and then I'll break it down. fast is a vocal lament for the dead. It's basically singing for the dead. Let's now break it down. Many aspects of death culture have remained present in Ireland, such as the wake. However, keening is much more unusual to hear nowadays. It was very popular in pre-Christian and even after Christianity took over. It's a form of vocal lament for the dead. Reports on keenings at funerals appear, this is written, from the 16th century onwards. It was known to be far more before that. Keen comes from the Irish Celtic Gaelic colrach, meaning to cry or to weep. Keening would take place over a body during a funeral procession. It was always women who carried out this role. Keeners often received payments for this service. It's a pro bono that this practice has its roots in the Irish Banshee, because if several banshees appear together, this indicates the death of someone great and holy. Now, just remember, if you're out in the night in Ireland or really anywhere and you hear a piercing scream, it's probably a banshee warning you. So beware and take care at night when you walk alone.